The ship moved slowly at the edge of human space. It was not a human ship. Its long surface was covered in strange symbols that no human eye had ever written. The metal looked dark and old, almost like stone floating in the stars. Some parts of it were broken and cracked. No light came from inside. No signal came out. It was silent like a forgotten ghost. Ryan, a human mechanic, looked at the ship through the window of his small repair shuttle. He had been called here because the patrol stations had picked up strange energy coming from this ancient wreck. Many believed it was nothing but a broken relic. Others feared it could hide dangers. Ryan was not a soldier or a scientist. He was only a man who fixed machines. Yet it was his duty to enter and record what he could. Ryan sighed as he checked his tools. He carried a light pack, scanners, and a small power cutter. His shuttle was not built for war. It had welding arms, repair drones, and emergency shields. Nothing more. He did not like the mission, but he had no choice. Orders were orders. The docking was quiet. Ryan guided his shuttle to a broken port in the alien ship. The lock hissed as he pressed his boots against the floor. He pulled the scanner from his belt and walked inside. The air was thin. His suit warned him of low oxygen. He tightened the seals. The halls were tall and narrow, built for beings not human. The walls had ridges and marks like waves frozen in metal. His light beam spread across dust that floated in the air. Every sound echoed back, making him feel he was not alone. He moved carefully, recording everything with a small camera drone that followed him. The silence was heavy. The halls led him deeper inside. Sometimes he passed broken doors, sometimes empty chambers. Rust-colored stains showed where machines had failed long ago. He thought maybe the whole ship was nothing but an empty shell, but then his scanner beeped. The screen showed a faint life sign. Very weak, very small. Ryan froze. His orders were to map, not to take risks, yet his hands moved without waiting for thought. He followed the signal. His boots touched the dusty floor. His breath was loud inside the helmet. The signal led him to a chamber half collapsed. The ceiling was cracked, the lights broken. He pushed through fallen beams with his power cutter until he saw it. It was a pod, small, shaped like an egg of metal and glass. The glass was broken and inside lay something alive. Ryan stepped closer, his heart beating fast. It was a hatchling. An alien child, but tiny, weak, and fragile. Its skin was pale blue. Its body was thin. Two small arms hung by its sides and its legs did not move. The creature's large black eyes opened and looked at him. It could not speak. It could not move. But it was alive. Ryan felt shock fill him. He had expected nothing, not this. A living being in a dead ship. A hatchling left behind. He checked with his scanner again. The life signs were fading. If he left it here, it would die soon. He hesitated. He thought of the rules. He thought of the danger. A human ship was not supposed to take alien life forms without permission. He could lose his job, maybe worse. But then he looked again at the hatchling. The little chest rose and fell with difficulty. The eyes stared at him with a silent plea. Ryan knelt down. He touched the broken glass gently. The hatchling gave a soft sound, more like a whisper than a cry. Ryan swallowed hard. His hands trembled. He remembered the words of his commander. Collect only data. Do not bring anything back, but could he really walk away? Could he leave this tiny being to die alone? His mind said no. He opened his pack and pulled out a small air mask. It was built for humans, but he adjusted it and placed it near the hatchling's mouth. The creature took a slow breath and relaxed a little. Its eyes blinked slowly. Ryan whispered through his helmet, though he knew the hatchling might not understand. I will not leave you. The chamber shook slightly. A deep sound echoed through the halls. Ryan looked around quickly. The ship was old, yet now it seemed alive again. Strange lights flickered in the walls as if the relic had felt his choice. He did not understand, but he did not stop. He lifted the hatchling carefully, wrapping it in the cloth from his kit. It was lighter than he expected. The small body felt fragile, like glass in his arms. The creature made no struggle. It only lay there, breathing weakly. Ryan hurried back toward the shuttle. The hull seemed darker now. He could almost feel the eyes of the ship watching him. His scanner beeped with strange readings. Energy was rising from the relic as if it had been asleep and was now waking. He did not stop. He carried the hatchling against his chest and ran. His boots echoed in the empty corridors. His breath was loud. His heart raced. Finally, he reached the docking port. The small repair shuttle waited like a safe island in the sea of this alien ruin. Ryan sealed the hatch behind him and placed the hatchling on a padded seat. The air inside the shuttle was clean and warm. He checked the readings. The creature's heart was weak, but it was still alive. Ryan sat down, staring at it. He felt fear, but also a strange calm. He had made his choice. He could not turn back now. The hatchling's eyes blinked slowly at him, not with fear, but with trust. Ryan whispered again, "You are safe now. I will help you." Outside, the relic ship floated in silence, yet the sensors of the shuttle showed a pulse, a strange wave of energy spreading into space. The ancient ship was no longer quiet. Something inside it had changed the moment Ryan carried the hatchling away. Ryan did not know what this meant. He only knew that his life had just taken a path no human mechanic was ever meant to walk. He had discovered more than a relic. He had discovered a life that should have ended, but had not. The hatchling gave a weak sound, almost like a sigh, and closed its eyes in rest. Ryan leaned back in his seat, staring at the stars. The mission was no longer simple. The mission had just begun. Ryan sat in the small cockpit of his shuttle, staring at the hatchling wrapped carefully in a soft cloth. Its chest rose and fell slowly. He had never seen a creature so small and fragile, yet he felt a strange connection to it. The hatchling's black eyes flickered open for a moment and studied him. Ryan's hand hovered above it, unsure what to do next. The sensors on the shuttle showed stable life signs, but only just. If he did not act quickly, the hatchling could fade away. Ryan unfastened a small storage container and opened it. Inside were spare oxygen masks, a small heating pad, and some nutrient gel packs used for long repairs in zero gravity. He carefully placed the hatchling on the heating pad, adjusted the oxygen mask, and offered the gel with a tiny spoon. The hatchling hesitated but slowly tasted it. Ryan breathed a sigh of relief. "Good, you are eating," he whispered. "You are going to survive." But even as relief filled him, fear followed closely. He was not supposed to bring an alien life form back to human space. The orders were clear. The patrol stations would want a report. They would question him. They might even try to take the hatchling from him. He had no plan, no backup, and no support. All he had was his own skill and determination. He shook his head. "I can't leave you," he said softly. "I can't." The hatchling gave a tiny sound, almost like a whisper of a laugh. Its small arms twitched as if acknowledging his words. Ryan felt a spark of hope. Despite being paralyzed, the creature showed signs of awareness. It wanted to live, and it trusted him. That trust was powerful, heavier than any fear he felt. He activated the shuttle's diagnostic systems. He needed to stabilize the hatchling completely. He adjusted the oxygen flow and fine-tuned the temperature of the heating pad. Then he checked the gel nutrient packs. They were designed for humans, but with small adjustments they could help the hatchling gain strength. Ryan worked carefully, adjusting measurements and observing the creature's reactions. Hours passed. The hatchling slowly gained strength, its chest rising more steadily. Ryan watched, exhausted but focused. He spoke softly to it, though he knew it might not understand. "You are safe here. Nothing can hurt you. I will protect you." The hatchling blinked slowly, and a tiny smile seemed to form on its face. Ryan leaned back in his chair and let himself rest for a moment. He thought about the relic ship he had left behind. It was strange and ancient, yet it had been alive in its own way. Its energy readings had changed the moment he carried the hatchling away. Ryan wondered if the ship was somehow connected to the creature. Perhaps the hatchling had been its last living link. Perhaps the ship had kept it alive all these years. He did not know, but the thought made his heart race. Suddenly, the shuttle's sensors beeped. A small red light blinked on the control panel. Ryan tapped the screen. The scanner showed distant ships approaching. They were not human. Alien shapes moved through the starfield, fast and precise. Ryan's stomach tightened. These ships could be the patrols of the species that had abandoned the relic ship. They could want the hatchling back. They could see it as property or a threat. Ryan took a deep breath. He had to make a choice. He could return the hatchling to the relic ship, risking its life, or he could keep it and face unknown danger. His hands tightened on the control sticks. He could not turn back. He had seen the hatchling's trust, and he had felt the life inside it. He would protect it. He engaged the shuttle's engines and began to move away from the relic ship. The small vessel vibrated as the systems adjusted to faster speeds. The hatchling twitched slightly as if sensing the motion. Ryan kept his voice calm. "It's okay, you are safe. We are leaving." The alien ships moved closer. Ryan watched them on the scanner. They had sharp edges like shards of crystal in space. Their energy signatures were strong. He could not outrun them with raw speed. He needed a plan. He thought quickly and remembered the repair drones he carried. They were built for fixing human vessels, but perhaps he could use them for distraction. He activated the drones and sent them ahead. The small machines moved in patterns, emitting light and energy readings similar to the shuttle. The alien ship slowed, focusing on the drones. Ryan gritted his teeth and pushed the shuttle in a different direction. The ships followed, giving him a chance to escape. Inside the shuttle, the hatchling made a soft sound. Ryan looked at it and smiled despite the danger. "See, we can be clever," he said. "We will survive." The creature's tiny hand twitched as if reaching toward him. Ryan held it gently, feeling the warmth of its skin. Hours passed in tense silence. The alien ship stayed behind, monitoring, but Ryan's shuttle stayed hidden among asteroids and cosmic debris. He used every trick he knew to evade detection. At one point, he had to dive through a narrow canyon of rock. The shuttle scraped against a sharp edge and sparks flew. Ryan cursed quietly but kept moving. The hatchling stayed still, trusting him completely. During the quiet moments, Ryan studied the creature more closely. Its skin had soft patterns, almost like stripes that glowed faintly in dim light. Its eyes reflected the stars. Despite the paralysis, there was intelligence there, a spark of understanding. Ryan wondered how old it was. How long had it been left alone? He felt anger rise at the thought of its own kind abandoning it. He promised silently that he would never treat any life like that. By evening, the hatchling had gained some strength. It could move its tiny fingers and lift its head slightly. Ryan prepared a simple seat with support straps to help it sit upright. He adjusted the oxygen mask and heating pad to keep it comfortable. Then he spoke to it gently. "You are safe here. We will find a place where you can live and grow." The hatchling made a soft sound, almost like laughter, and twitched happily. Ryan looked at the stars ahead. He had no plan for where to go. No one knew the alien relic ships like he did, but he felt a determination he had never felt before. He would keep the hatchling alive. He would teach it. He would protect it. Nothing else mattered. The shuttle moved silently through the void, carrying the small life that had once been abandoned. Ryan felt the weight of responsibility, but he also felt hope. The hatchling was not just a creature in need. It was a spark of something greater, a link to a story that had begun long before humans reached this space. Ryan did not understand it fully yet, but he knew that he had become part of that story. As he adjusted the controls, the hatchling's eyes followed him. For the first time, Ryan felt a true connection to something beyond human. It was fragile and small, but it was alive. It was intelligent. It trusted him completely. Ryan whispered, "We will survive this. Together." Outside, the stars stretched endlessly. The alien patrols faded into the distance. The relic ship floated behind them, silent again. Yet inside the shuttle, life had returned. The hatchling stirred and Ryan felt a warmth in his chest. He had made the choice. He would protect this being no matter what. And in that moment he knew that his life would never be the same again. The journey had begun, and nothing could stop the bond forming between a human mechanic and the last hatchling of an ancient species. Days passed in the small shuttle. The stars outside moved silently as the vessel traveled through empty space. Ryan spent most of the time checking the systems and caring for the hatchling, whom he had named Sorrow. The tiny creature was slowly growing stronger. Its chest rose more steadily, its fingers could move, and it began to respond to Ryan's gestures. Ryan had built a small cradle in the shuttle, lined with soft padding and equipped with life support monitors. Sorrow rested there when not exploring the small space. Ryan had noticed small patterns on its skin glowing faintly when it was calm and when it was stressed. The colors seemed to shift with its feelings, almost like a mood light. At first, Sorrow could not speak or make clear sounds, but Ryan noticed small gestures. It reached out with its tiny hands when he offered food. Its large black eyes followed him constantly. When Ryan leaned close, Sorrow seemed to understand his words in ways beyond sound. Ryan decided to communicate slowly, using gestures and images. He drew simple shapes on a tablet, showing Sorrow pictures of stars, planets, and mechanical parts. To his surprise, Sorrow began to respond. Its small hand would point to objects that matched the drawings. Rian's heart swelled with hope. This tiny creature, paralyzed and abandoned, could understand and learn. One quiet moment, Rian held Saro in his hands and whispered, "Do you remember the ship you came from?" Saro tilted its head and blinked slowly. Then, in a way that Rian could not explain, faint images appeared in his mind. He saw corridors like the ones in the relic ship, glowing symbols on walls and the shadow of larger beings walking past Saro's pod. The creature had memories, and it shared them in a way that felt like a dream. Ryan sat back, astonished. He had never experienced anything like this. He realized Saro was not just a helpless hatchling. It had intelligence and awareness. It had memories of a past civilization that had abandoned it. And now it was trusting him completely. He held Saro close and promised, "I will not leave you. I will never let anyone harm you. You are not alone." The hatchling responded with a tiny sound, a soft vibration that seemed almost like a whisper of gratitude. Ryan smiled and adjusted the straps of the support cradle so it could sit upright. As the shuttle moved through space, Rian began teaching Saro more. He introduced simple mechanical tools, showing it shapes and patterns. Saro could not use them fully, but it watched closely, its eyes reflecting interest and curiosity. Ryan marveled at the determination in such a small creature. It had been left to die, yet its mind was alert and eager to learn. They spent hours together. Ryan spoke of Earth, of human ways, of machines and stars. He drew pictures of simple concepts and encouraged Saro to respond with gestures. Slowly, the hatchling began to mimic him, pointing at objects, tilting its head, and blinking in patterns. It was learning, not like a human child, but in its own way, using understanding rather than language. One evening, as the shuttle passed near a glowing nebula, Saro reacted differently. Its skin pulsed with colors that shifted rapidly, brighter than Ryan had seen before. Its eyes stared at the swirling gases, almost like it was remembering something from long ago. Rian watched in awe, feeling that Saro's memory was connected to the nebula. Perhaps the relic species had traveled near similar places. Perhaps the hatchling remembered them. Rian reached out and touched Saro's small arm. "You are safe. We will find a home for you," he said softly. The creature's hand moved slightly toward his, a small gesture of trust. Ryan realized that the bond between them was growing stronger. He was not just a protector. He had become a companion, a teacher, and a friend. The bond was tested when the shuttle entered an asteroid field. Debris floated in all directions and the autopilot could not navigate safely. Ryan had to take manual control. Saro, frightened by the sudden motion, began to tremble. Ryan held it close and adjusted the support straps to keep it safe. "It is okay. I will keep you safe," he reassured. The hatchling's skin pulsed in softer colors, signaling calmness returning. After the danger passed, Ryan and Saro rested. Ryan talked to the hatchling about his own life, about machines and stars, about the humans who had taught him to fix things. He shared his memories, not expecting Saro to understand fully, but believing that the effort itself built trust. Saro listened, its eyes wide and attentive. Sometimes it would tilt its head or twitch its fingers, responding in small ways. Rian noticed that Saro sometimes projected faint images like dreams in his mind. At first they were simple, shapes, stars, objects. But over time they became more complex. He saw glimpses of the relic species cities, their machines, and their spaceships. He realized that Saro carried the memory of an entire civilization in its mind. It was a living link to a world long gone. One day, as Rian repaired a damaged panel in the shuttle, Saro tried to mimic him. Its small hands moved over tools, pressing buttons gently and observing the results. Ryan encouraged the effort. "Yes, that is it. You are learning." Saro gave a tiny vibration in response, a sound that Rian had come to recognize as happiness. The days became a rhythm of care, learning, and mutual trust. Rian began to understand Saro's moods through colors, gestures, and faint mental images. He learned when the hatchling was tired, when it was curious, and when it was frightened. He adjusted the environment in the shuttle, regulating temperature, light, and oxygen to match Saro's needs. Rian also began to wonder about Saro's future. He knew that they could not stay in the shuttle forever. Saro would need a safe place to grow and learn, a place where it would not be abandoned again. He thought of human stations, of research centers, but he also feared that humans might not understand or respect the hatchling. He needed a solution, but for now, survival was the first priority. One night, as the shuttle passed near a quiet star cluster, Saro did something unexpected. It lifted its head and touched Rian's hand. Images appeared in Ryan's mind. A simple drawing of a small ship, a place of light and warmth, and other small creatures. Rian realized that Saro was trying to communicate a memory or a desire. It wanted a home. It wanted companionship. Rian smiled and whispered, "We will find it. I promise." He adjusted the harness and placed the hatchling comfortably on his lap. He looked out at the stars and thought about the journey ahead. He was no longer alone. He had a companion who relied on him, and in return, he had found a purpose greater than himself. Over the next few days, Rian taught Saro more complex gestures. He showed it how to press buttons, how to read simple patterns, and how to recognize signals on the shuttle's scanner. Saro was quick to learn, its intelligence shining through even in its small, fragile body. Ryan marveled at how the creature adapted, remembering sequences and repeating actions with care. In quiet moments, Ryan reflected on what had brought them together. A broken ship, a creature left behind, and a human mechanic who chose to act with compassion. He realized that the universe was vast and often harsh, but small acts of care could change everything. Saving Saro had changed him too. He had learned patience, empathy, and a deeper understanding of life beyond humanity. One afternoon, while Ryan was fixing a minor power leak, Saro projected a new image into his mind. He saw the relic ship again, glowing faintly in the void. He saw corridors that shifted and hummed with energy. And then he saw other hatchlings, small and abandoned like Saro had been. The realization hit him hard. Saro was not the only one left behind. There might be more life needing care. Ryan took a deep breath. He looked at Saro, who tilted its head and blinked slowly. "We will be ready," he said. "We will face whatever comes." The hatchling responded with a tiny, happy vibration, and Ryan felt a surge of hope. Together they could survive, learn, and maybe even help others like Saro. As the shuttle glided silently through space, Rian felt a connection stronger than any he had known. Saro was no longer a fragile creature at the edge of life. It was a partner, a student, a friend, and Rian, once only a mechanic, had become something more. He was a protector, a teacher, and a guardian of hope. The bond between human and alien hatchling grew with every passing day. They shared knowledge, trust, and the quiet understanding that life, no matter how small, was precious. The universe might be vast and full of dangers, but together they would face it, and together they would survive. The shuttle glided through the dark emptiness of space, carrying Rian and Saro away from the relic ship. Ryan had hoped that the danger of pursuit had passed, but the sensors blinked with a warning. Alien ships were approaching, fast and precise, moving in formation like predators. Ryan's heart tightened. He had expected curiosity, but not an active hunt. Saro stirred in its cradle, sensing tension. Its skin pulsed softly in colors that reflected fear and alertness. Ryan reached out and placed a hand gently on the hatchling's arm. "It's all right. We will handle this together," he whispered. The creature seemed to calm slightly, but the glow in its skin remained bright. Ryan activated the shuttle's emergency shields and powered up the thrusters. He could not outrun the ships with speed alone. They were too fast and too well armed. He needed strategy. He glanced at the small control panel. The shuttle had repair drones, a few defensive tools, and systems he could use to create diversions. He made a quick decision. The drones would act first. He launched them into the path of the approaching ships. The drones moved in complex patterns, emitting energy signals that mimicked the shuttle's signature. The alien ships hesitated, focusing on the decoys. Ryan pressed a button and guided the shuttle in a sudden arc, using nearby asteroids for cover. The first stage of the plan worked. The alien patrols slowed and divided, chasing after the drones. Saro made a small sound of curiosity, its eyes tracking the movement of the drones. Ryan smiled despite the tension. "See, you are learning too. We can be clever." The hatchling blinked and lifted a tiny hand, following his gestures. The shuttle entered a narrow asteroid field. Ryan navigated carefully, avoiding collisions while keeping the drones between them and the enemy ships. Saro leaned slightly forward, as if trying to understand the movement of the rocks in the shuttle. Ryan adjusted the speed and angle to minimize danger. The alien ships could not follow easily, giving them a temporary advantage. Ryan's mind raced. He realized that Saro could help. Though small, the hatchling's intelligence was extraordinary. Perhaps it could sense the alien ship's movements or predict their next actions. He looked at the creature and whispered, "If you can see a way, show me." Saro's skin glowed faintly, then pulsed in rapid patterns. Ryan interpreted the signals as directions and adjusted the shuttle accordingly. It worked. They passed through the field with no damage. The alien ships regrouped and resumed pursuit. Ryan felt a surge of frustration. They were relentless in a way that felt personal. He activated the shuttle's thrusters to full power, weaving through space debris and old satellite remnants. Saro's small hand rested on the console as if guiding him, its glowing patterns providing subtle signals. Together they became a team, human and hatchling moving as one. Ryan glanced at the sensors. One alien ship had broken formation and was gaining ground. It emitted energy pulses that could damage the shuttle if they hit. Ryan had to act quickly. He directed the shuttle behind a dense cluster of floating rocks. The alien ship fired, but the rocks absorbed the blast. The shuttle moved silently through the shadows, Saro's eyes wide with awareness. Hours passed. The pursuit continued, each movement more complex than the last. Ryan realized that the alien patrols were studying them, learning from their patterns. They needed a new plan, something unexpected. He studied the shuttle's systems and the relic devices he had recovered from the abandoned ship. Some of these devices emitted energy patterns that could interfere with alien sensors. He powered one on and attached it to the rear of the shuttle. The moment the device activated, a pulse of energy spread outward, distorting the signals around them. The alien ship's scanners blinked erratically. Ryan used the opportunity to change course sharply, moving into a nearby nebula. The gas clouds provided natural cover, masking the shuttle's movements. Saro responded immediately, adjusting its posture and glowing in calmer shades, signaling that it understood the shift in environment. Inside the shuttle, Ryan spoke quietly. "We are doing well. Keep watching, keep learning. We are safe together." Saro blinked slowly, a tiny vibration of approval. Ryan felt a sense of relief. The bond between them had grown stronger under pressure. Saro was no longer just a passenger. It was a partner in survival. As they emerged from the nebula, Ryan noticed a pattern of distant objects ahead. Old satellites and broken debris created a maze. He guided the shuttle through carefully, forcing the alien ships to slow down and navigate the obstacles. Saro's skin pulsed with bright colors as if cheering silently. The creature was learning, adapting, and even helping. Suddenly, one of the alien ships fired a precise beam. Ryan's shields absorbed the impact, but the shuttle shuddered violently. Panels flickered. Sparks flew. Saro cried out softly, and Ryan held it tightly. "It is all right. I have you. We will survive this," he said. The hatchling's skin slowly returned to softer colors, its breathing steadying. Ryan worked quickly, repairing the damage while keeping the shuttle on course. Saro watched attentively, observing his actions. The creature's fascination reminded him of a student learning from a teacher. Despite the danger, Ryan felt pride. Saro had survived so much already and was now a part of this high-stakes journey. By night, Ryan found a temporary safe path through a belt of asteroids and cosmic debris. The alien ships, unable to follow safely, paused at the edge. Ryan breathed a sigh of relief. He had bought them time. He set the shuttle on a steady course far from immediate danger and focused on caring for Saro. Saro curled up in the small cradle, exhausted from the tension. Ryan adjusted the oxygen flow, checked the temperature, and offered a small nutrient gel. The hatchling ate slowly, its glowing patterns soft and calming. Ryan watched carefully, learning the subtle signs of fatigue and hunger. He realized that understanding Saro was as important as avoiding the alien patrols. Survival required teamwork, trust, and careful observation. As they moved through quiet space, Ryan reflected on the pursuit. The alien ships had been relentless because of Saro. The hatchling was more than just a creature. It carried knowledge, memory, and a link to a civilization long gone. Ryan understood now why they had abandoned it. They had feared weakness and imperfection. Humans might not have done differently, but Ryan's heart refused to accept that logic. He had chosen life, compassion, and trust. That choice had changed everything. Ryan spoke softly to Saro as they floated through the stars. "We have faced them and we survived. You are stronger than they ever expected." And I am proud to be with you." The hatchling lifted a small hand, touching his arm gently. Its skin glowed faintly, a signal of connection and gratitude. Ryan smiled, feeling the warmth of their bond. The stars stretched endlessly outside the shuttle. Despite the dangers, Ryan knew that they were not alone. Together, human and hatchling had faced a threat and survived. Each challenge had made their bond stronger, their teamwork more precise. Saro had grown more aware, more capable, and more trusting. Ryan had grown too, learning patience, empathy, and the courage to defy orders for the sake of life. As the shuttle moved into a safer region, Ryan began planning their next steps. They could not remain hidden forever. Eventually they would need allies, a place to rest and a way to unlock the secrets that Saro carried. But for now, the immediate danger had passed and they had survived together. That survival, that trust, and that bond were the foundation of everything to come. Ryan looked at Saro, who blinked and made a tiny sound. He felt hope. The alien ships had tested them, but they had endured. They had proven that a human and a fragile alien hatchling could become a team capable of facing challenges far greater than themselves. In the quiet of the shuttle, Ryan whispered, "We will continue, we will survive, and we will uncover what you were meant to find." Saro's eyes seemed to understand, glowing softly in agreement. The pursuit had ended, but the journey was far from over. Together, they would face the future, stronger, wiser, and united. The bond between human and hatchling had been forged in danger. It would guide them through trials yet to come. And in the vast emptiness of space, that bond became a force neither time nor enemies could break. Ryan piloted the shuttle through the quiet stretch of space, Saro resting beside him. The hatchling had grown stronger over the journey. Its skin glowed in patterns that reflected curiosity, awareness, and trust. Each pulse of light reminded Ryan of how far they had come together. They had survived alien patrols, navigated through asteroid fields, and endured long hours in the shuttle. Now they were close to the relic ship again, but this time, it was different. The sensors detected a faint energy signature ahead. It was not random like before. The relic ship had changed, or perhaps it had been waiting. The energy readings showed a core alive and responsive. Ryan's heart beat faster. He could feel the significance of this moment. The hatchling stirred, its eyes reflecting the glowing patterns from the ship. It was as if Saro knew the way. Ryan docked carefully at the abandoned port. The ship felt alive. The walls pulsed with light, and strange symbols glimmered faintly, reacting to the presence of the hatchling. Ryan carried Saro carefully into the chamber where he had first found it. The energy of the ship seemed to respond to the hatchling's presence, growing warmer and more active. Saro lifted its head and blinked at the walls. Then it reached out and faint images appeared in Ryan's mind. He saw the relic species, the construction of the ship, and the purpose of the chambers. The hatchling had been left behind not because it was unwanted, but because it held a key to the ship's core, a living memory and link to the knowledge of its people. Ryan realized the truth. Saro was not just a survivor. It was the last living link to a civilization that had been abandoned and forgotten, and the relic ship, though ancient and silent, had waited for someone compassionate enough to care for that life. With careful hands, Ryan guided Saro to the center of the chamber. The core of the ship glowed faintly, a complex array of energy and symbols. As Saro approached, the lights pulsed brighter. Ryan observed in awe as the hatchling extended a small hand toward the core. Images flashed in Ryan's mind. Maps of star systems, blueprints of machines, and knowledge of technologies long lost. Saro was activating the ship. The chamber hummed with power. The relic ship responded to the hatchling, opening hidden panels and revealing consoles that had not been touched for centuries. Ryan watched as Saro's mind connected with the systems, guiding the ship to awaken. It was as if the creature was speaking directly to the technology, a language beyond words, understood only by those who were alive and aware. Ryan felt a mixture of wonder and humility. He had found this creature abandoned and weak, yet it was capable of unlocking secrets that humans could only dream of. He stayed close, supporting Saro when it hesitated, encouraging it with quiet words. "You can do this. I am here." The hatchling responded with a faint vibration of trust. As the ship fully activated, energy flowed through the chambers. Holographic displays filled the room, showing knowledge of engines, energy systems, and navigation. The relic ship's purpose was clear. It was a seed of technology and wisdom meant to be shared, a gift left behind by a civilization that had faced extinction. And sorrow was the living key. Rian felt awe and pride. Humanity had discovered a life form abandoned and left for dead. Yet that act of compassion had awakened a treasure that could change the future. He watched Sato interact with the systems, each gesture precise and confident. The hatchling was no longer helpless. It was a guide, a teacher, and a bridge between two worlds. Suddenly, the sensors of the ship detected energy signatures outside. The alien patrols were nearby, likely drawn by the activation of the core. Ryan's mind raced. He had to protect Sato while allowing the ship to fully awaken. He activated emergency shields around the docking area and prepared defensive measures. The alien ships appeared at the edge of the energy field. They fired, but the relic ship responded automatically. Energy shields formed around the structure, deflecting the blasts. Rian held Sato tightly as the hatchling projected calming patterns, slowing the ship's response time for human understanding. The partnership between human and alien hatchling was complete. They were synchronized, working together against the external threat. The alien patrols, seeing the power of the ship and the connection between Rian and Sato, hesitated. Their formations broke and they withdrew cautiously. Ryan realized that compassion, intelligence, and teamwork had won where speed and strength alone could not. The bond between a human and a fragile hatchling had created a force beyond expectation. With the threat momentarily gone, Ryan and Sato focused on the core. The ship opened new chambers, revealing stores of knowledge, historical records, and advanced technology. Holographic screens showed how energy could be harnessed for human use, how medical systems could heal, and how machines could work in harmony with life rather than against it. Ryan's mind raced. This was more than discovery. This was a gift. A civilization had left Sato not as a burden but as a guide, and humanity now had a chance to learn, to grow, and to build a better future. Ryan looked at the hatchling. Its small hands moved over the controls and its eyes glowed with understanding. Sato had fulfilled its purpose, and in doing so it had created a bridge of hope for humans and possibly other species. Rian carefully recorded every detail, mapping the systems and understanding the processes. He realized that his role was no longer just a mechanic. He was a guardian of knowledge, a protector of life, and a witness to the legacy of an ancient civilization. Sato's trust had brought him here, and he vowed to honor that trust by using the knowledge wisely. Hours passed as they explored the ship together. Sato's confidence grew, and the hatchling began to communicate in more advanced ways. Small gestures, patterns of light, and mental images allowed Ryan to understand more of the technology than he could have imagined. The relic ship responded to Sato's presence, unlocking areas that had been sealed for centuries. Finally, Rian guided the hatchling to the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly, but the ship now had a new light within. Sato looked out at the universe, and Rian realized that the journey was far from over. They had survived danger, built trust, and unlocked knowledge, but the future held even greater possibilities. Rian whispered softly, "We did it. You did it." Together. Sato responded with a faint vibration, a signal of happiness and connection. The hatchling had gone from fragile and abandoned to strong and capable. It had become more than a survivor. It had become a teacher, a guide, and a symbol of hope. As the relic ship hummed with power, Ryan realized that their actions had changed history. Humanity now had access to technology and knowledge that could transform civilization, and it had been unlocked by compassion and care for a single fragile life. That choice had made all the difference. Rian and Sato spent the night in the observation chamber. The hatchling rested, its skin glowing softly. Ryan reflected on the journey, the discovery, the choice to protect, the bond they had built, and the pursuit they had survived. Every step had led to this moment of legacy and hope. By morning, Ryan knew what they must do next. They would guide humanity to the knowledge the ship offered, but carefully. The power could not be misused. Sato would remain the living key, teaching and guiding those who were worthy and compassionate. Together they had created a future that honored life, intelligence, and trust. Rian carried Sato to the central console once more. The hatchling extended a small hand, and energy flowed between it and the ship. The holographic displays lit up, showing connections between star systems, machines, and life. Ryan understood that the legacy of the ancient civilization was now shared with humans, and the path ahead would be one of cooperation, discovery, and hope. The alien patrols had retreated, unable to comprehend the bond between human and hatchling, or the power of the awakened relic ship. Ryan knew they might return, but now he had confidence. Together with Sorrow, he could face any challenge. The partnership had grown from trust, care, and shared purpose. It was unbreakable. Rian looked at Sorrow, who blinked slowly, eyes reflecting the stars in glowing patterns. "We will protect this knowledge. We will guide it wisely, and we will ensure that no life is ever left behind like you were." The hatchling responded with a faint vibration of understanding and agreement. The relic ship hummed with energy, a symbol of knowledge and hope. Ryan realized that saving a single life had changed the course of history. Sorrow, once abandoned and fragile, had become a beacon of intelligence, trust, and legacy. Together, human and hatchling had achieved something greater than either could have done alone. As they looked out at the stars, Ryan felt a deep sense of peace. The journey had begun with discovery and danger, but it ended with understanding and legacy. The bond between human and alien hatchling would guide the future, and in that quiet, powerful moment, Ryan knew that the universe had witnessed the strength of compassion, trust, and the will to protect life. The stars stretched endlessly, but inside the relic ship, light, life, and hope now thrived, and human and hatchling together faced the universe with courage and purpose.